Very happy to welcome Ariana Reines here tonight. This is part of a series called Artists on Artworks, which invites artists of all disciplines to respond to artists that are on view in the museum, whether that be in exhibitions or in the permanent collection. Tonight, Ariana is going to be sharing her own work, along with her reflections on the rich, interdisciplinary salon culture of 19th century Paris and how it resonates with her own practice. This is going to be around a 30-minute program with time for questions at the end. So a little bit of intimacy at the end of the program. If you do need a seat and you are not receiving one when the next round comes, please flag me down and we will do our best to accommodate you. I promise we have more. Okay, with that, I am very happy to pass it over to Ariana.
Okay, all right, welcome everybody. A tiny bit of intimacy at the end. So if you have questions or thoughts, just know I welcome them and we will hopefully discuss everything that you want to discuss. So, I just would like to acknowledge or perhaps hazard that on some level, all of us are in this room because we are concerned with beauty or curious about it, and the ways in which it moves through the body and soul of artists and the ways that we decide what it is somehow. And I want to acknowledge this because this is one of the places that I go to refresh my eyes when my eyes are exhausted and when my soul is exhausted. This is a place I come to refresh my soul. And I wanted to also acknowledge that through our eyes, through my eyes, I have been absorbing horror. Untold horrors now for, is it 42 days? I've lost count. And there's something strange about the eye, I think. It seems as though we receive so much through this portal, and yet what we see also hides reality in a way. And I wanted to talk a bit about not exactly the salon culture that was accepting and rejecting paintings in the time of Manet Degas, but more the kind of space in which women held court, spaces that were domestic, but somehow also public, in which the art of conversation was practiced, and a certain kind of, let's say, interior philosophy. Are you with me so far? Following me? Okay. So this interests me a lot right now because the difference between public and private and the realm of our eyes is so difficult to get a grip about or a handle on. It's something that what were they called? The Neoplatonists wrote a lot about. They talked about the eye not only receiving stimuli from the world and absorbing, but also that the eye, the loving gaze, also kind of emanated outward into the world, and that there's a way to gaze upon the world beautifully that has something to teach us about beauty. And I do feel that this is a moment of such anguish and flammable outrage and consternation and also despair. And I'm speaking only for myself, okay? I can't speak speak for anybody else, but speaking for myself. And I find that thinking about this notion of a beautiful gaze helps to rebalance my nervous system somewhat, and helps to orient me also ethically, as I'm also receiving horrors and absorbing them into me. This is something that is happening by the billions right now. Right? So, if you don't mind, I'll just say a few words about how I came to be kind of a salonière, even though I had no money and didn't even really have a house. So normally, to have a salon in the 19th century, you, as a lady, you had to be married to somebody who at least had a salon in which people could, sit down and be. There are some people in this room who have been to my salon, so you know what Ridgewood, Queens looks and feels like. Some of you know what Bushwick looks and feels like. It's a very interesting combination of energies that cause someone to need domestic space in which to do philosophy, or a kind of semi-private space in which to do debate or aesthetics. So these are all things that happen in the university, they happen in public, they happen in polemic, they happen, in official space. But there is something connected to trauma and exile and being away from home, or being without a home, that makes this kind of, I'm going to say ventral of the stomach, that makes this kind of embrace necessary. And it happens in times of crisis, where people come together and they share their artwork, they discuss issues of the day, and in my case also we often study ancient texts in an environment where it's possible to actually make mistakes, and to also practice the virtue of giving each other pleasure, of making each other laugh, of having conversation, like with our mouths, And I wanted to just sort of make a gentle plea for this kind of gathering in times of horror like this one, and times of great confusion and consternation like this one. You feel me? Okay. So, because I'm now feeling a bit shy, I'm going to read a few poems, for which I apologize in advance. You've all waited this long, so I would suggest, if you don't like it, go to sleep, or start scrolling the horrors of the day. And then when the poetry's over, we can come back, but you are forbidden to leave. Sorry. Everything, you can't see it, but an electric fence has been activated and we're all live. Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments before I begin this more tedious part of the evening?